And we are live. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Billy Wroe. Today is actually Sunday. I am coming to you guys for a live Q&A for the first row. This is our first live Q&A that we are having. We're going to have many, many more of these, but this is the first one. Mark Anthony, first place. Just coming to you guys today to actually do something that I'm calling off script. And so off script is just a moment where we get to interact and engage with the viewers. Sometimes it'll be a group of us from as content producers from the first row. Other times it'll be one of us, might be me, might be somebody else individually, just to sit and rap with you guys and to keep the interactivity of the network going. So off script is an opportunity for the topics that we haven't gotten to yet. It's impossible for us to get to every single topic. But the ones that we have not gotten to yet, and in areas that you might be dealing with personally, professionally, whatever it may be, questions that you have that you would like to be addressed on the first row, this is an opportunity to be a part of that live conversation. And really, instead of it being us giving content to you, it is us responding to the questions that you may have for us that you want us to address. So with that, we're going to get right into it today. Mark Anthony, you're the first one in here, man. You Sunday and you first. But hey, I'm good with that. So I want to get you guys going right now. I don't know how many, I can't see how many people are in the actual live chat. So if you're in the live chat and you plan to say hello, say what's up. Keon, Lucas, what's going on? So if you're in the live chat, make sure you tap in. But let's get started. Let's jump straight into this because I've set aside an hour, squad. I've set aside an hour to really just address or discuss any of the questions that you as viewers of the first row have in regards to things that you're going through in life, in regards to maybe some secondary advice you need to give to somebody who is not a viewer of the first row yet. And so with that, let's jump it straight in. I see at least that there's 3 people in here, so let's go. What do you guys got for me? I'm gonna sit for a second and let y'all type and see if y'all have anything you want to ask. Make sure, because see, I used to be spoon feeding information. Today it's y'all time to work. It's your turn. Put in the work. Let me see. I mean, I can give y'all some of my random thoughts, but we won't jump into my random thoughts. Not, at least not yet. If y'all don't come up with questions or have something that you guys want to engage with, then maybe I'll give you guys a quick random nugget. Like I said, I'll be here for up to an hour. But if there is no live questions, then there's no need to sit here live for an hour, waiting and waiting. So I hope you guys have some good questions to ask today. Bob McKinley, town hall meeting, first row style. Yes, it is. So it looks like Bob, see, Mark, you were first in. You should have had first question, but Bob McKinley seems to have beat you to the first question. First question we have from the live audiences comes from Bob McKinley. It says, so how do you find the time and energy to work full time, manage the first row, and have any kind of personal life? Oh, man. It comes through compartmentalization. So everything that I have in life has its own little compartment, whether it's my children have their compartment, my work has its compartment, first row has its compartment, relationships outside of first row, all of them have these compartments. And really, I understand that there's only a certain amount of time that I have each day. And 5 days a week, I'm going to my full-time job. It's very rare that I take time off from my full-time job. So what I've learned to do is to really have a tight schedule and live on a calendar. So I tell people all the time, if you want to get in touch with me, or if you want to like actually sit and catch me not moving, running from place to place, then you have to get on my calendar. And so I think the best answer to that is that organization is how I'm able to balance all of those different things. And then the energy, it comes and it goes. There's some nights where, I mean, unfortunately, I suffer from insomnia sometimes. So there's some nights that I don't get a good night's sleep, don't get a whole lot of rest. And then I have to try to figure out through compartmentalization which compartment I'm going to actually put that intentional rest in. So let's say last Friday, I believe it was, I had a show with Antoine Wade of Black Heights. I'm sorry, Friday before last with Antoine Wade of Black Heights, and he's coming in from jet lag. I had a horrible night's sleep on Thursday night. Had things that I actually had to do on Friday during the day that drained a little extra energy. But the hey, what's going on, Fidel? But the thing is that when I came home from work, I knew immediately. It was like, when I get home, I'm going to lay on my bed and I'm going to rest for at least 2 hours because I need to have energy when I'm going live. I need to make sure everything's running smoothly and that I'm focused when I'm live. So it really comes down to being intentional about the things that I do, anywhere from creating graphics for First Row. That's something that I do on Friday at 3 p.m. If I have something that I'm doing on Friday at 3 p.m. or at 4 p.m. when I get off, then I just make sure that I move that in my calendar to a place that I can get it done before the content needs to be produced. So it's really about staying organized, staying on top of my schedule, and being intentional with the schedule. And if I do need additional energy, acknowledging that I need that additional energy and getting that recharge, whether that's taking a nap or, I mean, I really haven't been able to play video games a lot lately. I do like to play video games, but it's just, I have something about me right now where it's like, if I'm playing somebody else's dream and I'm not working on mine, I feel some kind of way. So that, I hope, answers your question, Bob. The personal life aspect really is, it's about spending time with people that I really genuinely care about. So like, I'm going back to California next week. I'm going to be spending time with a lot of people and my sons that live out there. And that will just be intentional time that I spend with those people. And I'm already getting that calendar set up before I get out there for the following week. Next question we have is with Squad. Selena, it's so hard to call you Selena. Selena Elise, it says, what routines or sayings do you have or did to have such a positive outlook on life? People tend to allow their negative thoughts to take over. I'm sorry. So routines, I think the biggest routine that really helped me initially transition my mind from like, not victim mentality, I've never been a victim, but like negative focus to positive focus, was waking up in the morning like 30 minutes earlier than what I used to wake up. And so I used to wake up like around 5:30 in the morning to just have time to really get clear on my thoughts, clear on my focuses. And one of the things that I implemented in that was I used to do a thought of the day. And that thought of the day really created synergy for my day on what it was that I was going to be focused on. So, I mean, that's where it really started for me, was waking up a little bit earlier to spend a little more time with my own thoughts and reflecting on my own successes and sometimes my own failures. And then really being focused on what the positive was going to be for the day. That actually was the very beginnings of First Row. It actually started on it started on my personal Facebook page, transitioned to a page called Things Many Fathers Forget to Teach Their Children. And for like a year and a half, I was just, every day was just a thought of the day, 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 just something different, just to keep my thoughts in a healthy, positive place. And so that's what routine started it. What saying or what motto actually really solidified it for me I think I came up with this in 2014, but it's the motto that I still refer back to today, where it says, we are who we are because of who we practiced being yesterday. The question is, who are we practicing to be for tomorrow? And so that was like, for me, that saying, it defines my past. It has gotten me to where I am today. And in many ways, it defines who I am today in the present. However, in the future, that past is going to be added to by the present. So who am I practicing to be for tomorrow? That's who I should be focused on today. Because if I want to be an inspirational speaker, if I want to have First Row have good live content, then I have to be intentionally focused on that in the present in order for that to manifest in the future. I can't be like, well, I hope one day there's some live content that comes up, never launch a YouTube channel, never record a video, never invite people to share their stories, and then be like, okay, now I'm to the future, and the future is now, and then be like, well, there's no videos and there's no content to produce. So I think from the routine perspective, it was waking up early and focusing on reflection, and the thought of the day really helped me center in on that. And then from the sayings perspective, it was just, again, we are who we are today because of who we practiced being yesterday. The question is who are we practicing to be for tomorrow? So that is what has helped me. Doesn't mean that I don't have negative days. Doesn't mean that I don't have times where I have an attitude problem. It just means that I try to be more focused and more intentional on structuring those thoughts and channeling those energies. And what I am finding now is because of the positive energy that I have resonating within me, when I'm around people who have a negative energy, I'm quick to like get out of that environment. And I mean, I just had that happen this past week where I was in an environment and I was just like, it's like, do I have an attitude problem, or am I feeling something? And so I really just kind of sat at the table, chatted with a couple people, and I was like, okay, this is the issue. There's an energy here that I'm not vibing with. And so I just stayed for like 30 minutes and then I left. And left the energy, felt a whole lot better, had to deal with some other things that were not necessarily positive, but I was still felt a whole lot better because I removed myself from the energy. So I think that's the other routine, is being very aware of your surroundings and those energies that are resonating around you, and getting yourself out of the ones that are negative and not for you. Well, let's see what we have here. Fidel, again, I just want to say what's up, brother. I appreciate you tapping in today. Bob McKinley, thanks. And I forgot to mention sleep, critical for health and energy. Yes. And sleep, I mean, I think sleep is more important than food at some points. Like, yeah, it's important to eat and have energy from that perspective, but from the perspective of keeping your mind and your mental health strong, sleep. Food can curb certain aspects of your mental health, but sleep or sleep deprivation has a very great impact for me. Like, there'll be times when I don't have enough sleep and I have like a buzzing headache that just really won't allow me to focus. And so I'll just sometimes it'll take a 10-minute nap. Like, doesn't sound like a lot, but shoot, 10 minutes of sleep when you're exhausted is better than a piece of chicken. So, Cousin Brian, I see you are here. What's going on? It says, if you are at liberty to share, what is your vision for First Row, and how can your viewers support you in this effort? The fortunate thing is First Row is still in the process of growing some things, but we're always at the liberty to share what we can. So the vision for First Row really is about establishing a legacy. And it's not just a legacy for myself. It's important for me to establish a legacy for myself, but it's a legacy to where we all have the ability to impart our wisdom, impart our stories, and impart our solutions with one another. And it allows us to really share in each other's experiences. And I don't mean from the perspective of being in everybody's business, because there's a lot of things that I share on the First Row where I do not insert names of the people that I'm sharing the information about. So it's always okay to share the lesson, to share the story. However, you don't have to share people's business by sharing their name, their date of birth, their address, their social security number. Like, you don't have to share all that information. You can absolutely share the stories that you've experienced, or the experience that you've experienced, and the lessons that you've gleaned from those. But there is a level of confidentiality. The one thing that is very helpful for me personally for the First Row, and my vision for the First Row, is it provides a layer of transparency for myself. So being able to be in front of a video, I realize that if you see me week after week and I'm talking inspiration, it holds me accountable in my own personal life to really be focused on that inspiration curve. Now, again, doesn't mean I don't have bad days, doesn't mean that I don't have shortcomings, doesn't mean that I see the world through rose glasses, but I'm a little more aware of my surroundings and the things that I am doing in my surroundings because of my responsibility to the First Row. I can't be like, oh yeah, you guys should be on the First Row every week and then here every other week, or flaky and flighty on making sure the content is ready to go. Now, do we have technical issues, technical difficulties? Sure, that's going to happen, and I'm not worried about that. But being consistent, I think if there's anything that I want people to take from the vision of First Row is that they should be consistently who they really want to be. Maybe not who they are today, but who they're striving to be. They should be consistent in that effort and in that pursuit. So, in short, First Row's vision is that. The grander vision of First Row is well beyond YouTube. YouTube is a great platform to market, a great platform to create viewership, to create resonance with people. However, this at the towards the latter or more into depth into the First Row vision, YouTube will just be a small part of what First Row is doing, whether that's master's classes. We're currently working, Moses and I are currently going to start working on our first master's class next week. No, sorry, not next week, week after next, on compassion fatigue. And we're really going to take the last conversation that we had of compassion fatigue and really grind out a structured class that we can provide information to the viewers who they can come in and they can join in that class. Now that class will have a fee to it, unlike our YouTube channel. Most of the content, you just come in, you get it, you can consume it at however you feel to consume it. But that will be more structured. That will have workbooks. That will have a certain time that will take place, and it'll be more group based for people who are really focused on growth and self-development and going out there and investing in themselves to be, again, the best possible version of them that they can be. So that is the latter part. Then even further into that is conferences and workshops that are live, where we can not be live on the video. Maybe we can be live on a video, but really having people coming to locations. I'm actually going to a conference in June where the purpose of going to the conference is, number one, to work on marketing and understand branding and really be able to promote First Row in the way that I think it deserves to be promoted. But number two is to really experience how these conferences are being put together in a way that's profitable. Profitable is important. I don't want you guys to think that profit's not important, but it's profitable, and that is also going to make the greatest impact possible for the people that attend, and then has resonance or resonates, I'm sorry, throughout the experiences that people who have attended share with people that they know who didn't get an opportunity to attend. So there's a lot of things that are going on with the First Row. And if you watched the Behind the Grind conversation that I did with Carolyn, there's other things that I talked about in the First Row and the vision that we have. But there are a lot of things beyond the scope of YouTube that we are looking to do. And if you guys want to support that, the best way to going about supporting that, number one, costs you nothing. It costs you absolutely nothing. You can click the like button on every single video that resonates with you. You can share that video with people that you may know. Those are the things that you can do for free. Currently, I've reached out to a group of personal friends and family to help with monetary support. If you are interested in supporting monetarily, currently I can't take payments through YouTube. But if you are interested in that, you're welcome to reach me. I can actually put the email that you can reach me at. Make sure it's right. You can reach me at billy.rowe@firstrow.com, and we can talk about actually contributing a donation to the First Row in order to help cover some of the costs that I have been covering out of pocket thus far. But there's tons of things that you can do. Just getting the word out. If there's a business owner that you know who needs a speaker to come, that's something that you can do. We have speakers. Myself, I'm a speaker. I've spoken professionally for the government. I've spoken professionally for businesses. You can just put us in as a recommendation to be speakers and to come and bring some of the content that we will be developing for our viewers to present it at the corporate level. So there's plenty of things you can do to support. And I think the other thing you can do to support for free is to be interactive with the channel, like engage, take a moment to say hello, take a moment to join and drop a nugget in a conversation, take a moment to ask a question. Those are all things that you can do in order to contribute to the First Row. But again, my email address is there, billy.rowe@firstrow.com. If you're interested in contributing financially or donating financially to the First Row, please don't hesitate to reach out to me via email. We'll connect then offline. Let's see what else we got. Frank Wonder, what's going on with you? How can I teach my cat to play trombone? Frank, I don't know how you could, I don't even know how to play the trombone. And I'm going to be honest, I don't really like cats that much. Sorry if you're a cat lover, but Cats are not my things. I think you can probably though, because I mean we live in the world of technology, you could probably Google it and find an answer to that question. Selena, let's see. If the opportunity came, would you do a live tour of the first row? Why would you, and what would you hope to accomplish? The answer is absolutely if the opportunity came for First Row to be live, like a live tour from state to state and country to country, because I don't limit myself by just the states that are in the United States. I absolutely would take that opportunity. I'm sorry, I shook my head no. I absolutely would take that opportunity. I think why I would do that is because I'm big on technology. Technology has been something that is really designed to help us get closer to each other. I think we abuse it in some ways and don't get the closeness that we need. We sometimes seek entertainment versus enlightenment, but I'm very much a fan of face-to-face interaction where people can see you, where people can engage with you on a face-to-face basis and not just on a video camera, but also live, like being able to say, okay, now we're finishing this particular segment of a live tour, and being able to have like some people who have backstage access, or being able to do a mixer outside of the event and really interact with people on a deeper level. I think that really yields a stronger bond and connection with each other, and it takes out the TV mentality. Oh, this is a TV personality. This is a YouTube personality. No, when you interact with somebody face to face, you really start to find out who they are. And you're like, oh, all that inspiration stuff you're talking is really just talk. You're not really about that life, or you don't really focus or live that way. But when you're interacting with somebody face to face, you're like, oh, okay, no, that inspiration thing, like the way you carry yourself, the energy that you have about yourself, the mannerisms in which you speak, all those things are exactly what I see when I interact with you on YouTube. So I think a live tour would be very helpful. And then what I would hope to accomplish, number one, is that deeper connection. But number two really is to begin to establish, I think when you're on live tour, you've established some type of at least world presence where not necessarily you're respected more, because what I say is what I say, and either you respect it or you don't. But I think that your audience tends to understand, like, wow, they're out here and they're getting their message out in a live manner. I think what that does for the audience member is it really, or not for the audience member, sorry, for the speaker or the speakers who are on that live tour, it really solidifies their reputation and their investment in what they are trying to accomplish. So with the first row being about accomplishing that drive, that self-development, that better life for ourselves, being focused on those things, getting out there into the community and into the world to share that, really just shows our dedication to that. So I think that's why that's what I would accomplish with that. And then just overall, people, when you get a group of people together that are buzzing on the same same cycle or whatever, and they have synergy, it just creates this power. Like, and I mean, I mean, people, if you've ever been to church, you've been in a church where there's just people who are all on that one accord, and it feels like there's a power vibrating through the room. I feel like that happens when in other areas of life as well, where if you can get people to join live and hang out and be a part and engage, it just creates power, and that power creates fire, and that fire burns throughout as people go back to their own individual interactions. Let's see. Oh, when I also think about creating a book, I think about creating books all the time. And actually, in the Interstation Behind the Grind, one of the things that is a vision of the first row is to have a publishing arm later on down the road, where whether we're publishing short content, ebooks, or full books. There's plenty of books that I have. I actually have a 3-book series. Because I don't have any copyrights on it, I can't share what that is. But I have a 3-book series that I would love to be able to begin to work on and get to the surface, because I feel like it would really resonate strongly with what I do currently with First Row and what I'm looking to do overall. So yes, creating a book is definitely on the agenda. Let's see. Fidel. Oh no, I'm sorry. Rogue memes. Can you dab and say big up Rogue memes? No, I cannot. I don't even know Rogue memes. You got to tell me who you are. Can I dab and say big up Rogue memes? Um, let's see. So I used to be very involved with my community, trying to be loving towards others. But last couple of years, I really pulled back. Different situations caused me to do so. How do I train myself to get to the old me? So shout out to Fidel, man. Fidel and I actually grew up together, like on the same street, grew up together. Um, oh, without allowing old negative situations to dictate my current. Whew. All right, so let's break this down in two different ways. Number one, you used to be very involved with the community. Um, Being involved with the community means being involved with people, and people are variable. They're volatile. You don't know if you're going to get the good. You don't know if you're going to get the bad. So it's important that if you're going to be involved in the community or go back to community involvement, that you have to reconcile that that's going to take place. Like you're going to get, like even on YouTube, I get people who are trolls. I get people who are really focused on the content, and that's just a part of being on YouTube, being a part of that YouTube community. So you have to reconcile that that's going to take place, and you can't. I don't want to say you can't. Try. You have to do your best to allow yourself that wiggle room that you need to say, okay, what are the people that I want to focus my energy on, and what are the people that I don't want to focus my energy on? What I found to be my frustration when dealing with our community, the one we grew up in, or dealing with other communities that I didn't grow up in. Is when you're trying to force people to change when they don't want to change, when that's not where they're looking to be. And I deal with that currently in YouTube, where I'm working on inspiration. I'm working on trying to help people to become better thems, working on trying to help me become a better me. And not everybody is ready for that. And because not everybody is ready for that, you just have to be willing to accept that you're here to help the people that you can help and that are receptive to that help. And then there's going to be a portion of people that just don't want the help. So that's the first thing, is going back into the community, whether you go back in or not, you're going to have to reconcile with yourself that people are variables. That's like I tell people all the time, I don't have any problem with marriage. Marriage is not the issue. It's the variables of the people who get married that become stagnant or become complacent or whatever it may be that causes a marriage to fall apart. But marriage in and of itself, there's no problem with marriage. And then the second part of that, trying to be loving towards others, and how to get back into training yourself. It comes to what we say. And so I'm going to recommend, I don't know if you've watched it, there's a Wednesday Word that I did about how to create a healthy, or how to build a healthy life story. And really that's how we get back into the person that we want to be, or get back onto the path towards the person we want to become. Is by really working on what our story is that we're telling ourselves. So I watch people on all aspects of life who say, oh, I can't do it, or I'm a failure, or I'm horrible at this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. And they're absolutely right that that's what they are, because that is what they are professing, and that is what they are repeating with themselves. And so when you're hearing that story over and over again, like let's say if my story was, oh, I'm a horrible husband, I'm a horrible friend, I'm a horrible speaker, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. If all I have are these negative stories that I'm filling myself with, then when negative comes, all it has to do is jump on the bandwagon of the stories that I'm already telling myself. But on the other side, when positive comes, it's hard for me to take hold of that positive and hold on to it. So if you're going to go back into the community and you really don't, you want to figure out how to train yourself to stay in that loving mode and that compassion mode, really what it comes down to is your stories that you're telling yourself internally. Because then if your stories are positive, it's, hey, I may not be making a difference today, but I'm going to make a difference eventually. I know that for myself personally, I want to impact millions of people. Have I impacted millions of people yet? No, I haven't. But I know that that's something that I'm going to do. So every time I'm going into situations, whether it's going live on the first row, whether it's interacting and telling somebody that I have a YouTube channel in the streets, like all those interactions are me realizing that there's a story in my head that says, Billy, you have millions of people to impact and to encourage and to inspire. So because I have that story going, even if they're like, I'm not watching no inspirational channel on YouTube, My brain says, Billy, you have millions of people to inspire. And so if this is not one of them, that's okay. There's still millions to go. So really it comes down to that story that you're telling yourself internally. And it can't be, I tell people, don't lie to yourself. I'm not saying be in denial when I say build a healthy life story. It's not about telling yourself a lie or telling yourself about a fantasy. It's really about telling yourself what you know to be true about the core of your character. I've made some horrible mistakes in my life, and I've had people tell me, Billy, that's a horrible mistake that you made, and not in so many nice words, but they've told me. And try to cast a light on my character or cast a light on who I am as an individual because of a single mistake that I have made. And because I'm so invested in my story, I've always been able to say, hey, if that's how you feel, I'm not here to change your story, but I'm also not going to allow you to change my story about myself. I know what kind of friend I am. I know what kind of father I am. I know what kind of partner I am. I know what kind of son I am. I know what kind of uncle I am. I know who Billy Wroe is. And that's based on the story that Billy Wroe wakes up and tells himself every single day and throughout the day. So that would be my best advice to you, would be to really work on the story that you're telling yourself, even to the point before you go back into the community. Because if you're going into the community with negative stories still buzzing around from past hurts, past pains, past resentments, the first negative interaction you have is going to probably ignite a fire that's going to make you want to jump back out of the community again. So that's my advice. I hope that helps. Let's see. Yes, exactly. Cool. I'm glad that that helps. I think you hit it on the head. I find it very hard to give myself credit when it's due. I often take a hold of what I did wrong instead of right. Whoo, hey man, that's not just you, that's everybody that I know of. If you're if you're trying to become better, it's sometimes easier to focus on what you did wrong because you're like, I gotta fix that. And but in a conversation that I actually had with my oldest son this past week, I'm sorry, I think it was just yesterday. We were talking about his grades that he locked in for the quarter, and he has some, he has some grades that are A's, B's, and C's, but he actually has a D in one class. And even for that conversation with him, I wanted to make sure that it was like, hey, let's acknowledge that these grades, these A's, these B's, and these C's, these are good grades. These are grades that you really worked and put an effort for and got a good grade. This D, let's talk about this because we do need to fix it. We do need to address it, but there has to be some acknowledgement of the positive. Other than that, you don't have the positive reinforcement necessary to want to continue to do the positive actions. All you'll do is focus on fixing the negative actions, and the positive actions will suffer. Let's see if we have anything else in here. No, I don't have anything else from the live audience. So let's see. Let's give you guys a quick random thought. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to maybe ask a couple more questions. A random thought. Oh, actually not a random thought, but some good news. So as I always say, I'm big on self-development, growth, mentorship, things along those lines. And actually, this week I was accepted into an executive leadership mentorship program at my job. It's a 6-week or not 6 week, it's a 6-month program. I'm really excited about that. I think that it will help me in the areas of business. Not that I'm necessarily lacking in, but just helping me see different perspectives of business that other people at much higher levels than me are operating at, and helping me to drive and push towards my goal of being a D or C level employee, which is an executive level employee. I thought that was really cool. And going back really quick, Fidel, to the story that I told myself when I applied to it, the story that I tell myself anytime I have an interview is that if I get an interview, I get the job. This is not a job, but and that's the story I tell myself. Now, have there been times where I haven't gotten the job? Absolutely, there's been times where I haven't gotten the job. But I think if I'm being honest, maybe there's only like 2 or 3 times in my life where I've gotten an interview and not gotten a job. And even when I didn't get that job, and then I got a different job, really the job that I ended up getting was the right job for me, that put me in the right path and put me in the right direction that I needed to head in anyway. So going back to that story, the story I always tell myself is when I apply, hey, if I apply and they give me an interview, I'm trying to get in. I'm trying to get in there. And lo and behold, I had an interview, I thought it went very well. And then had a second follow-up interview, which I also thought went very well. And then I was notified on Friday that I was accepted as one of 15 participants in a program that's spread across our division, and we have thousands of employees across our division. So I'm not sure how many people applied, but I really feel proud. I mean, and it's okay to feel proud. I don't feel arrogantly proud, but I feel proud to have been selected as one of those 15 candidates for this program. So hopefully the growth that I get from that, I'll also be able to bring over to the first row and help inspire some additional growth as I grow. Hopefully you guys can grow with me. So that's all that I got. Are there any other questions in the live chat? Oh, I'll tell you offline. I try not to bring my company into things because then that way I don't have to worry about getting approval for videos on YouTube. But I'll tell you offline, who I work for. And then my company, though, when you say your company, my company is First Row. That's my company. So let me see. Let's see. So you guys have asked me a lot of business and growth questions. What personal questions do you guys have? I'm probably gonna regret saying ask me a personal question, but that's okay. Ask me a personal question anyway. Grab. I got Shaka Khan stuck in my head for some reason and can't get it out, so I just keep. Oh, absolutely, Bob. That's the name of the game. Is pay it forward. I'm only honestly where I am today because of people who are willing to pay it forward into my life. And so this is why I'm so hungry to get additional information, different mentorship, because if I can get it, then it allows me to be able to give it back and to be able to pour it into somebody else. So paying it forward is all but almost everything about the process of First Row is paying it forward. Like people are investing in themselves. I'm investing in myself to have more information. I'm investing in books that I've read already to really come over them and pull out additional tools and additional nuggets to share with people. Because, in all honesty, not all of us are readers. And for a long time in my life, I wasn't a reader. I didn't like reading. And then I started reading books that were fiction. Wait, no, nonfiction. Sorry, that were nonfiction. And there were tools in the books that I could apply to my life to actually help me through processing things, and really bettering my own life. And so I mean, even if I have to read a book 4 or 5 times just to pull out a nugget to give to somebody who's never read the book, I think that that's something that's a way to pay it forward and a way to give back. I mean, just like I said, reading is not for, it's for everybody, but not everybody likes to do it. What do you miss from California now that you live in Utah? Well, I think the main people I miss are my sons that are out there. I have 2 sons that are out there and 1 son that lives here with me in Utah. That has been a challenge because we do video chats and stuff like that. But again, going back to Selena's question about the live tour, that's not face-to-face interaction. I can't pick up my sons and hug them. I'm not there to discipline and correct them if they need that discipline and correction. I can discipline and correct them over the video, but there's just difference when your father's looking you in your eyes and saying, "Hey, you better get your attitude right." It's a little different than a video that you could be like, "Oh yeah, okay, whatever. What you can do, jump through the video." Um, there's some food that I miss out there. There's an abundance of friends. I mean, that is where I've lived my entire life. So I can pretty much go anywhere in Sacramento and run into somebody that I know, and have a good conversation with them. There's been times where I've been out at business lunches, and I come from I'll call it a rough neighborhood, not a tough neighborhood, but a rough neighborhood. There'd be times where people from my neighborhood would see me in a business attire and having a business meeting, and then, "Hey, Ro, what's up?" And they're super animated, but I'm like, "Hey, what's going on with you? How are you doing?" Like, never being too good to speak to the people that I grew up with that know me, because I know them, and it's all love when we see each other. So I think those things, being away from family, being away from my network, has been difficult, and I miss it. However, I will say I am grateful for it, because what it has done is it has really pushed me to be intentional about the relationships that I forge in Utah. So, like, I don't spend time with a lot of people outside of work in Utah. Um, not with a lot of people. Like, there's people that I hang out with, but not a lot of people. At work, I'm very friendly, very cordial, but I'm also very network minded. And hey, what are the other areas of the company that I can start, now that I'm behind the firewall, I can start interacting with, to build the relationships that I need, that are going to help elevate me professionally in the organization. Those are the things that I'm grateful for, because being away from your core network, which is California for me, has been it's been a test of who am I really, and am I really as good at developing relationships as I thought I was, or was that just because I grew up in California? So those relationships kind of grew and fostered over time. But I'm finding that wholeheartedly I'm very good at developing relationships, and I'm very sincere about the relationships that I develop. But being very sincere about the relationships that I develop, I'm also very quick to cut a relationship off that is not a healthy relationship for me. So I think that's what I miss the most about it, is the network, the family, the friends, and it still feels weird even a year and a half later, when I go back to California for a week and I spend time out there, and it's like, now I'm a visitor rather than me living in that state. So that's the thing that I miss the most about it. Let's see, Fidel. How do I find motivation if all I want to do is be lazy? You got to make a choice. I always preference this. I am not a motivational speaker. I am an inspirational speaker. And the difference is that motivation is, in my opinion, is an external force, an external factor that is pushing you towards something. Inspiration is an internal factor that resonates within you. So if you want to, sorry, my chat just moved. If you want to find motivation, what you're looking for is in my opinion, and the way I see it, you're looking for an external factor to motivate you to do something. But that can only stick with you for so long. It's like when we were kids, our parents could whoop our butts, but at some point, if I'm like 23 years old, you're not gonna hit me with no belt. You're not gonna pop me on my butt. We're gonna fight. So at some point you have to find something that you're passionate about internally. Like, I'm passionate about First Row. It's internal in me. Like, I can go to sleep and be exhausted but still dream and think about content for the First Row. I can have a dream that has nothing to do with the First Row, wake up and think about how does that apply to the First Row. That's not anybody externally saying, "Hey Billy, wake up, you need to think about the First Row. Hey Billy, wake up, you need to create content." That is something that is inspiration, inspired within me. That is a fire that's burning, and all that fire can do is, as I add more fuel to it, is rage hotter and burn hotter and faster within me. And when it does that, it allows me to say, okay, what's the new content that I want to bring? What's the new relationship that I want to bring? What are the new connections I need to make? What are the new investments I need to make in me to keep that fire burning? And that's where I'm able to fight the lazy tactic, is because it's inside of me. So even if I decide I want to sit on the couch and be lazy, I'll probably pick up my phone after watching something on TV, pick up my phone and put a note. Hey, this message that was in this particular show that I was watching resonated with me like this. Here's a nugget that I will later build as a Wednesday word. I have tons of those in my phone where it's not that I'm working on first row stuff, but because I'm so inspired to want to drive and inspire other people, like it's just there in me inherently. So even if I do have a day where I want to be lazy, there's a difference between wanting to be lazy and needing to take a break. I do take breaks, but if I have a day where I just want to be lazy, hey, get up, you got things to do. And that's all that I need, because that's something that's inspired within me. I don't need somebody to call me and say, hey, Ro, have you done what you need to do yet? Or do you need to get this done? Or I don't need that. I just have that inspiration. So if you want to fight that lazy bug, man, you got to find what inspires you. And if it's interacting and loving on the community, man, then do that. But if it's something else, find out what it is, find out what that passion is, and really engage with it so that it really becomes a part almost of it. It's almost obsession. It becomes a part of everything that you do. Like every everything that I do, I can look at through a lens of Billy, regular everyday life, and through a lens of first row. How can I help to relate this experience to the viewers so that they can get the lesson that I got, so they can get the nugget that I got? And that's just because I'm obsessed because of that passion and that inspiration inside. But I do still have days where I want to be lazy. I just snap out of it. Appreciate it, Black Heights, and Mr. Antoine Wade of Black Heights. Congratulations on the accomplishment. I appreciate you. Fidel, so Utah is known as a Mormon state. Yes. Does that come into play when developing new relationships? So when I first got to Utah, I mean, of course, everybody from California was like, "Oh my God, this is a Mormon state. Be careful, don't become a Mormon." Like, it was crazy. But it, the thing that I have found is that there is a subtle divide between, like, either you're a Mormon or you're not. Like, there's the Mormons and there's the not Mormons, the non-Mormons. But really, people are just people. Like, I did have one weird experience where some Mormons tried to follow me back to my house, I guess, to minister to me or talk to me. But I mean, even when I was in California, I had Mormons come to my house, and I actually invited some back to come and talk on a weekend when I was available. We talked for a little bit, and then um, at some point, I guess because I was asking questions and engaging in conversation rather than just saying, okay, what you're giving me is truth. They decided they didn't want to. Well, one decided they didn't want to stay anymore. Okay, cool. I don't have a problem with that, but I'm always for dialogue and conversation. But the one thing that's different than in California than that's here is that, like, it'll be like 8:30 at night and somebody will knock on your door, and I'm from a neighborhood where if I didn't call you and expect you, or you didn't call me and I expect you, I'm not just gonna come to the door and hope that you're not gonna, like, kick it in. So for me, there's not a big difference. It's just a matter of, I think the thing that I have learned in fostering relationships is that I surrounded myself in California with very high quality people that if they said something, they did it. If they said something and they didn't do it, I could call them to the mat about that, and that behavior would be corrected, and or that relationship would be corrected. Here, there's a lot of people. When I first got here, it was like, oh, we should hang out. Okay, cool. I don't got nothing to do. It's just me here. And they were really flaky. And so I have found that Utah is somewhat, when I'm out and about, it's somewhat cliquish, where, if you grew up here and you have your circle of friends, and you're in that circle of friends. If you didn't, and you maybe spark up a conversation with a circle of friends that's not your circle, they might be cordial, but they're not like, come on in and be a part of our group. No, they already have their group. So that's, from the relationship standpoint, that's been more challenging than somebody being a Mormon. I mean, there's Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, atheists, there's all kinds of religions out here that people practice. But I think it's more so the cliquish nature, not of the religion cliquish nature, just the cliquish nature of people that has been the challenge in breaking into certain relationships. And I guess breaking in might be a little too harsh. navigating into certain relationships or new relationships. But the thing that has been interesting is the first row has driven um, more new relationships for me, like Antoine Wade of Black Heights. That is a new relationship because of first row, not because I mean, he lives in California, but I lived in California and never met him. So having the first row up and about has actually helped me foster new relationships and has helped me deepen existing relationships. And so I think the investment for me is not so much in how many more new relationships can I get in Utah. The investment for me is how do I keep the deep connections and the meaningful connections that I have already established at this point in my life. I'm 38. I don't have to go to work to make friends. I can go to work and just get paid if that's what the job requires. However, I have friends, and I'm not paid to see them, and they're not paid to see me. And we're heavily invested in each other. So that's what I've always fallen back to, just the friendships that I have. I've spent a lot of time investing in those. All right, well, we got like 10 more minutes because it's Sunday. So one of the things, a little unknown fact about me, if you don't follow me on social media, I actually on Sundays do what we call pinners. They are Pinterest dinners. So we go on Pinterest and we find different recipes. Sometimes a dessert, sometimes normally a meal, but sometimes a dessert and a meal. And we figure out what we're going to make for a Sunday dinner, but it's something that we've never tried. A couple weeks ago, I made some ribs that were crock pot ribs that came out love. But this week, I'm actually taking some Benihana garlic butter, some chicken, some red potatoes, and some green beans. I don't know if I'm going to do cornbread or not, but that will be tonight's dinner. So that's a little known fact about me. If you guys don't know, outside of inspiration, I also do love to cook. I'm like a scientist in the kitchen. I'm working on having recipes, but I just dabble. Whatever I see, whatever I think is going to taste good, I put it there. Every once in a while, it comes out tasting horrible, and I throw it away and start over. But it's one of my passions as well is cooking, and I think it comes from the ability that food has to nurture people. And so I've always liked having get-togethers and cooking food to bring people closer together. So that's one of the things that I have. Let's see. Oh man, look, you going real personal for them. Are you still singing, bro? You used to really get down with Sid. Sid is SID. Yes, Sid's talent shows. Uh, no, I am not singing. Every once in a while, I play around and act like I still sing when I'm in the car. But nah, I really don't sing anymore. I still love to dance though. Like if you get me on the right dance floor, I'm there. I could be there all night, and I could be there all night by myself. I don't even have to be dancing with anybody. I just love to dance. But singing, yeah, no, my vocal days are over. I think the last time, and I can't even remember if this is it. I think the last time I sang in public was like karaoke on a cruise, and that was like 2011. Yeah, so 8 years ago almost that I was singing. So I really don't get into the singing, but I do have friends who do sing, and they write songs, and every once in a while people send me songs that they want me to edit or things that they want me to add to, or they'll have me listen and give feedback to their music. Every like once in a blue moon, and it's been probably like maybe 8 years or so since I've done this. Every once in a blue moon, I do take time to like write out lyrics, whether those are rap lyrics or singing lyrics or whatever kind of lyrics, poetry, whatever it may be. Every once in a while, I do take time. If I hear a song or music that really like resonates with me, I take time to write a musical story. That's what I call them. I take time to write a musical story and try to share that um, with a couple of people personally, like in my circles, but I'm not like, that's not going to be on anybody's SoundCloud any day of the week. Let's see. Overseer Icon. Yo, just subbed. Have you seen someone in your stream with the username Huge? No, I have not. Thank you for your subscription, but I have not. Let's see. We got like 5 minutes left. That's one more thing I want to give you guys before we take off. There's going to be no tools for the first row during the live segment. This is off script. So um, back in the gym, Cousin Mo always makes fun of me about doing push-ups and stuff because he swears I'm just like the buffest guy he knows. But if he has had any time like I know he has with George McCone, then he knows I'm the second buffest guy that he knows. But back in the gym, it's a struggle. It's anytime you're away from any activity for a long period of time, it's a struggle to go back. But it's really about being intentional and pushing yourself into it. And I had that experience today as I was doing sets of 6 push-ups. Like that's it. I was like, 6, it burns bad. Um, so as I'm getting back into the gym and rehabilitating my right shoulder, it's something that's important to me. It's something that's worth me doing, and it always makes me reflect. Like I said, I can see the world through my own experiences, but I also see them through First Row. First Row is something that pushes me. It's something that stretches me, and because it does that, I'm willing to experience those growing pains because it's something that's worthwhile for me. It's worth the journey. It's worth the end result. Like having the ability to have information in my mind that I can provide to people to help them deal with situations that they're dealing with, information in my mind to be able to provide to myself when I go through my own stuff. It's worth it. And really, I look forward to all that is in store for the First Row. I mean, it's only been honestly like since First Row's been on YouTube, it has only been shoot. Tomorrow, let's see, October, November, December, January, February, March. Tomorrow will be 6 months that the First Row really has been buzzing with since Interstation started. And I just look at the growth that has taken place and the vision and the things that are coming in the near future, coming in the next quarter. First Row is very much a business to me, and it's a business. And I say that because to me, businesses are vehicles to accomplish whatever it is in life that you want to accomplish. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes, where this journey takes us all, and the things that come from it for not just people who are on the First Row, but people who are outside the First Row. And that's the ripple effect of our impacts through our interactions with others. So that's all I got for you guys tonight or today. I'm glad you guys tuned in with me live. I know I can't hear you guys, but I still have my earbuds in because it lets me know that I'm coming in clear on my mic. But if there's no more questions, I'm going to give you guys 60 more seconds to ask one more question. Brother Fidel, I appreciate you tuning in today, man, and being involved in the chat. For Bob, Antoine, even Overseer, and what was his name? Frank something. I don't know off the top of my head. It's up too high. Cousin Brian, Keon, Mark, all you guys. I appreciate you guys all being in. Squad, baby squad. I always appreciate you coming in and rocking with me. But other than that, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday. The next time we will be live on the First Row will actually be tomorrow. It's keeping it real estate. That is why you need an agent in new home construction sales. So if you're buying a new home, new construction home, I'm sorry, not just a new home, a new construction home, why you still need an agent for that particular transaction. So that will be tomorrow, March 25th at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're also going to have an Interstation panel on Tuesday. That will be on in regards to interracial marriage. I think that's going to be a very interesting topic that you guys might want to tune in for. That will be at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then on the Wednesday, we will have a Wednesday Word topic pending. But Wednesday Word will start at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Going to continue to bring you guys content as much as I possibly can. I appreciate you guys rocking with me on the live chat. If you're watching via the replay, we'll engage with you for the first week of this content being up. And then after that, this content, as far as our responses from the First Row, goes silent unless we just happen to be in there and there's something we can respond to. So with that, if you like this particular live Q&A, share it. If you share it, like it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the First Row channel. Ways that you can support us are by liking and sharing. So please like, please share, please subscribe. But I look forward to engaging with you guys in the live chat always. Look forward to engaging with you in the comments. If there's any way or anything that you need to reach me on, feel free to message me at billy.roe. That's BILLY.WROE at firstrow.com. Be happy to take your email there. If you want to donate to the First Row, you can reach me there. If you want to send in a topic for any of the First Row content producers, feel free to send an email to topics@firstrow.com. That's topics with an S at firstrow.com. And other than that, I appreciate you guys for rocking with me tonight. One love, peace, or not tonight, sorry, this afternoon now because it's 12 out there, 1 out here. One love, peace, and God bless. Thank you for sitting on the First Row.